Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your co-host, Rebecca, and of course, I am joined by my somber co-host.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Rebecca.
Wesley.
Kyle won.
Yeah. Is that what's got you feeling so somber?
No. On a personal level, I didn't really care who won. But on a strictly of course, we do podcasts, one every week, 2 a week, but 1 a week specifically on winter analysis. And the only time I started seriously considering Kyle was last week, as everyone heard, when Shaheen went. I'm like, shoot, dude, I was not expecting Shaheen to go before finale. That throws a twist in everything. And that was the first time I ever seriously considered Kyle. So and obviously I didn't have him as number 1. So this is the second miss in 10 seasons. I'm 8 for 10. I was hoping to be 9 for 10, but I'm 8 for 10.
But we got Gablered again.
No, dude, when that vote reveal happened, when Eva got the second one, I was like, holy crap. I was like, does Eva win?
Yeah, that was surprising to me. Yep.
Eva winning would have been getting Gablered because I did a poll. I did multiple polls.
Yeah.
And Eva got 5% of the vote. So if Eva won, there's only 5% of the comments should have been like, I knew this.
Right.
And everybody else had to eat crow. But no, the vote ended up being, so I did one the other day, as I do every week. But most weeks is it a man or a woman? And most people have been on, it's got to be a man this season train for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the vote split. I didn't put Mitch on there because you can only put 4 people. And let's be real, Mitch was not. I mean, clearly, Mitch was not winning. I like how Mitch tonight's like, I should have made a big move. Yeah, Mitch, you should have.
Dude, yeah, when he said that, I was like, yeah, you're playing Survivor. What do you mean? He was like, oh, I should have made a move.
Not
singular.
even a big move.
I should have done something in this game.
Just a move.
Yeah, you should have.
Well, everyone who was on the Kyle train, all 35% of you, I see what the percentage of the vote was. It was 43% Joe, 35% Kyle, 16% Kamilla, 5% Eva was the vote split 3 days ago before the finale. So in case the number magically shifts because people go back and change their vote because they want to look smart, that's the real number. Yeah, so 35% who knew it was Kyle, good for you. Honestly, I'm glad. It makes sense. Kyle never got a zero confessional episode. He was prominent. Ultimately, the lesson learned, of course, the lesson we already knew was 0 confessional episode. We should have taken more seriously. I felt like, on one, and I am to blame. On one aspect, I felt a little bit talked out of because you and Mary that week were both like, but you got so much other content. I'm like, yeah, you're both right. Mm-hmm. But I'm to blame because I did move Shaheen above him. And then I was like, oh. Then the very next day, I was like, no. I was like, they're right. He did get a ton of content.
Yeah.
Shoot, dude. I mean, flipping Joe and Eva were on the CBS morning show, a national television show this morning, which they do not do for anyone during any Survivor season, national television. Joe and Eva, the 2 of the final 3, not even the winner, but the 2nd and 3rd place people.
That's what I kind of wonder how Kyle feels about the way that this season has been, I guess, received or presented. Yeah, because it's truly he's kind of third wheeling his own season in a lot of ways.
He really is, dude. He really is. He's the third wheel and he won.
He literally won. I mean, I guess he has the $1 million. So, there you go.
We would be bad to not mention that next week on Wednesday, as you may have all saw during Survivor Tonight, at 7 a.m. Eastern, I assume, they're going to drop the 50 cast during the same show that Joe and Eva were on this morning.
Are they trying to boost ratings on this morning show or something? Because yeah, it's a lot happening.
The Survivor audience is too lucrative. Pass up. So yes, next week they're gonna drop the cast. It sounds like, and I don't want to promise this, we're definitely gonna podcast it. That's happening. But it might actually work out that Rebecca, Mary, Madison, and myself could be on the podcast. I've been trying to get all 4 of us on a podcast all season. And it was surprising because I was like, I know Rebecca's guaranteed. Rebecca's locked in. Madison's like, I probably can. I got off work at this time. I'm like, no, that works. And then I tell Mary, I'm like, I got Rebecca and Madison, I think. Mary's like, well, I want to do it. And I'm like, You do? She's like, yeah?
Yeah, it's a big podcast. There's a lot to talk about, I'm assuming. We don't know who the cast is yet, obviously, but yeah, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot.
Mary's the same lady, though, who's like, for weeks now, it's like, I'm looking forward to the off season and not having a podcast with our kids and everything. And now she's like, oh no, I want to be on that one. All right, okay.
Well, here's the thing. Podcasting a season where everyone is, sitting on their hands and talking about making a move and then not doing anything.
Boring.
That's one thing. Talking about the cast for season 50, our first returnee season in 10 seasons?
Since they filmed Winners of War in 2019, so
yeah.
Then they aired it early 2020.
That's very exciting.
It'll have been 6 years in between. Craziness.
Man.
I do want to throw this out there because I know there's been a lot of suspicion in terms of, I guess it's Redmond rumored that there's one male and one female from the season for a while. Say changed her hair and made a public post about Instagram back to what it looked like during 48. So unless she's trolling us, I think she's probably the woman, and that makes sense because they really liked her through the episodes they had her.
She was great.
So many people were theorizing that if Joe loses, that he's probably the male, and I'm going to say, yeah, you're probably right. I think you're probably right. Whoever people have been saying that, I think you're dead on because I'm like, if Joe wins, I don't think he's going to be on the 50 cast. I'm like, it's probably David. My love for David. But I was also thinking like, who's another like prominent male character on the season? I'm like, David. No, it's gotta be Joe, right? Like,
I think so. Based on like just watching the way that this season has unfolded and then seeing who ended up winning.
He was the final 3 GOAT.
Yeah. My takeaway from that is like, okay, Joe must just be like Jeff's favorite from this season. Like that must be what happened in the edit. And yeah, I'm not necessarily mad about some of the plot twists that they put in the editing. Like, so there are some questionable things, like the scene last week where Joe was just listening to Kyle and Cheyenne talk.
Right.
Like, I can't believe that they did that to Kyle in the winner. Like, that's crazy to me, but I'm here for the red herrings and the plot twists. So yeah, I'm not necessarily mad about it, but it is interesting for sure.
As I said last week, I'm like, if Kyle wins, it feels like they did a little bit of a disservice to him because of how much extra effort it seemed like they put into Joe's story this season. Mm-hmm. That I feel like Kyle got a workman like edit. Like there's a lot of work done, but it was not given the same amount of love and care that I felt like Joe got, or Joe and Eva, I guess, for being real. Eva got second. Who am I discount Eva now? Right? We've all been discounting Eva, and she flipping ended up in second. Cedric, by the way, off in left field as usual, voting by himself.
Yeah.
Cedric voted for Joe. Who knew Cedric would be the left? I thought Cedric would be the left field vote for whoever was the third place person, but that wouldn't be Joe. I thought it was gonna be like Kyle and Joe compete for 1 and 2 and Eva get third. I'm like, Cedric votes for Eva, right? No.
Yeah, right.
Apparently not.
Exactly. Well, and even like the way that Jeff opened this episode talking about how this season has been all about the emotional connections and everything. And like, sure, Kyle had a strong emotional connection with Joe, but like what won him the game was his strategy and like the way that he played and the way that he spoke.
But that's not what Jeff wants you to think.
Right. Yeah. But it's like, but Jeff was so clearly setting up that like Joe or maybe Eva was winning. But like, I guess I inferred, that it was going to be Joe. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still like kind of in shock in some ways of like, what a plot twist. But again, I'm here for it. So yeah.
I think you were on something earlier when you said that you think Joe is Jeff's favorite, and I'm going to ditto that. I think you're dead on that is what we saw this season, because if you listen to Jeff's interviews and especially his On Fire podcast, Jeff is and if you just watch him on the show, he's always pushing for people to talk about their emotions all the time, constantly pushing for emotions. So when he gets Joe, who is consistently talking about his emotions as a man, an older man too, I feel like Jeff probably relates to this. Jeff loves to talk about emotions now. Jeff's an older man, and he sees Joe and he probably loves Joe. I think you're right, because Joe was talking about his emotions all the time. I am shocked, though on the other hand, I'm not shocked that Joe didn't bring up like a sister and everything during Final Tribal. That may have, to Joe, felt manipulative. But Kyle, in my opinion, what brought up him being incarcerated when he wasn't asked about it. Like that question was, what moves did you make in this game? We're going to go through the episode chronologically, but this is kind of our first reaction. And like the question that Chrissy asked did not lead to Kyle, but Kyle was like, I'm going to take advantage of this and lead to it anyways. And it's like, well, good for Kyle. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, when's Joe going to slip in? He didn't.
Right.
He totally bombed that final tribal. It's almost like what we talked about at the beginning of the season. I think it was like Joe and David are both revealed to like not really have watched the show. Like they only watch challenge competitions or whatever. Like they weren't really fans of Survivor, if that makes sense. And I think that's what we saw of Joe.
And it's always those secret lawyers that know how to just talk their way through that final tribal, you know? I don't know.
Is the trope
lawyers pretending to be teachers.
When is the trope going to end? Next season, it's Oops, All Lawyers 49.
All lawyers from California.
If you care about the cast of 49, raise your hand. Wow, nobody raised their hand.
This is an audio podcast.
49 preview. Yeah, the 49 preview happened, and I'm just like, yep, they're playing a season of Survivor in Fiji. Like they couldn't tease us with anything. Like
I will
these
say,
people are gonna be overlooked.
I appreciated that there was at least some of a theme in the art of like the sunken ship. Like there was some cohesiveness, I guess,
done that so
to
many
that
times, though.
Design. We'll see how much. Yeah, that actually like carries through to the season, but
the Cook Islands,
I guess it's something.
Tribal Council was like a sunken ship, and I think Game Changers might have been that. Edge of Extinction was that. So it's just like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I'm just like, I wish 49 had a hook for us to be like, oh, hey, wow, we should be looking forward to 49 as well. And that they could have but they of course are just like too stubborn to doing anything new. So we're all looking forward to 50.
Can you imagine if they had some returnees on 49 and they didn't tell us until tonight?
Amazing.
That would have been so
like
funny.
A captain season or something. Like at least that would have been a plot twist.
That would have been amazing. Too bad they didn't do that.
Jeff's like, Boston Rob is back. Rob Father Part 11.
Oh, that would have been crazy.
Brother.
They would have done the thing to Joe that they did to Malcolm back in the day. They're like, hey, Joe, do you want to play next season?
Basically.
Like,
that's
sure.
what they did to Bruce when Bruce got, and he asked on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like that that On Fire podcast started so strong, man. It started so strong. Like they were ready. And then I don't know. I haven't listened to this season yet. I'm about to once this pretty much starting tomorrow, working on the Survivor 48 Secrets video. Okay, so let's go through this episode.
I wonder if Joe's going to be the guest next season. Okay, sorry, moving on.
Well, that's a good point. Who was it? It was Rachel this season. You're right. Well, that's the thing. If Joe's on 50, I don't think he would bring Joe on.
Oh, good point.
But
good point.
So it'll be dependent on who is on 50 and who's not, because I don't think he would bring on somebody who's on 50 to be the 49 co-host, but I could be wrong. But it's definitely, he does a man, woman thing. You just go back and forth. So who's the man going to be? It's either Joe if he's not on 50 or Kyle. I guess Kyle would be the obvious one. Kyle won. Why not?
Yeah. When we had Rome on the podcast, I think he said that Jeff asked like first place, then second place, then third place. So like it just depends on who says no, I guess.
I think Kyle's probably are locked in because Kyle, I assume Kyle's not on 50. I assume winners aren't on 50, but we'll see. Again, we don't know until next Wednesday. I think Redmond, who's the only person I trust outside of officially Survivor, to talk about the cast. So if Redmond reveals anything early, like in terms of names, I'll believe Redmond. But these like other accounts, not to name names, these other accounts, like they get big because they share spoilers, but like they never are right. They're just stealing from Redmond and the stuff and then when they're wrong, they don't like admit to anything, and it's just annoying. So anyways, Redmond, Inside Survivor's the only place I would trust. The Patreon is pretty good for that. All right, so let's go through the episode chronologically, Rebecca. We got to do this, but I am very aware that we've talked through some of these things already. We're doing our best talking through this because now that we know Kyle won, how did this episode reflect that? But before we do, Rebecca, we were gifted, you and I, hardcover books of Survivor or cultural history, which I'm showing on screen right now. And Rebecca, I know that you were looking forward to this. I was looking forward to this. I didn't even know about this until I saw it on Survivor Specialists. They did an interview with the authors, and I was like, well, I mean, somebody's going to make a book about Survivor. I want to read it. Now, there's been books written in the past, but and I'll reach out to authors, but if they don't say nothing, like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to force them into featuring their book for free. Anyway, so yeah, we read them, and I got to say that I think that if you're looking for a book that explains Survivor and its importance over not like a season by season, but more like, I would say section by section of the show. This book is for you, because this book covers pretty much every part of Survivor. In fact, we're even name dropped once in there, but just as like one of the prominent Survivor YouTube channels, which I want to point out very quickly. They've named 5 channels: Peridium, Idle Out, Once Upon an Island. I'm like, solid. I'm like, that's a solid 3, right?
Wow, nice.
Well, of course, anyone who's gonna name me, I'm gonna say that, but I'm just saying, like, everyone could agree that's like the big 3. Rob as a podcast is more in the tradition of is a podcast, obviously. While it has video, so they do name drop him later, but they're talking about like specifically people who make videos about Survivor, like edited videos. And then they said Land of Survivor, and I was like, I have never heard of this channel. I had to go look it up, and like, it seems like they upload clips. I was like, okay. I was like, all right. And then the 5th one, they said Survivor Geek, and I told Mary when I read that, I was like, oh, now if you don't know, those are like, who's Survivor Geek? Or maybe you do know Survivor Geek. Survivor Geek was a channel that uploaded like entire challenges and stuff, and then they got nuked.
Oh no.
Got nuked, dude. So I'm like, this book was written after 46, but clearly before Survivor Geek got nuked, because Survivor Geek.
Yeah.
I'm checking right now. I don't want to like speak ill, or like, they had a ton of videos.
Oh man. R.I.P.
I'm looking right now, and yeah, they basically got nuked. They used to upload full blown challenges and everything. And yeah, I'm looking. No, that's all gone. So
Dang.
When they named the 5 channels, I was like, who's Land of Survivor? And then I was like, Survivor Geek. Anyways, overall, that's sorry. I want to talk about the part that we're mentioned, because I like that. Of course. Stroke my ego more, please. But yes, it's a solid book. Rebecca, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think something like specifically for me, I enjoyed kind of reading about like the history of Survivor, and specifically like kind of, I guess, what TV was like before Survivor, and then how Survivor kind of like changed the game in a lot of ways. Because I'm, I guess, of the age where like Survivor has always been around, if that makes sense. So like, I don't really remember a time like I wasn't super into TV or like, you know, TV ratings and stuff before Survivor. So like, I thought that was just kind of interesting to be like, oh yeah, this show that we love and, you know, we enjoy talking about and everything, like, there's a reason why it's so, I don't know, just so popular, and it is so good, and it was so game changing when it came out. So yeah, I thought that was kind of, cool, just from like a history perspective, I guess.
My biggest knock on the book, while I do recommend it, is I want you to know, there's one picture running through the slides showing how many pages are there on the book. There was like only 135 pages of the actual book talking about Survivor. And then there's like 60 pages of notes and references and like what some words mean. So in terms of actual content, I would say there's only 135 pages, and that to me is a bit disappointing. I sure hope that if they ever go back and update the book, that they do it after 50, obviously, and expand it, because 135 pages to me just felt too short. I'm like, there's so
very brief,
much more to talk about that I think an updated and expanded version of this book would be recommended as well. But what we got here is good. I would say check it out. Link in the description. We are releasing this podcast on YouTube on the 22nd. The book came out on the 21st, the day of the finale that we're actually recording this podcast, and it's going up on Patreon. So it is brand spanking new. Again, thank you for sending it out to us, and we appreciate it. All right, let's move on. Okay, so this episode starts with previously on Survivor. Kyle and Kamilla have a secret relationship, and I'm like, oh no, the drinking game. I'm dead. I'm dead.
Here's the thing. This running bit is like the Sammy is only 19 thing, but it actually had a payoff because Kyle won.
Right.
So
that's why they didn't make it into a joke. And that's why we didn't think of it as a joke for so long.
Yeah, you're so right. That's a really good point.
That was the only thing I think of. I'm like, why was this not leaned into harder as a joke? I'm like, they've talked about it 1,000 times. Whereas the other things I like put goofy
just
music to.
Just in case you forgot.
Yeah, like if Sue being a pilot won her the game, they would not have put goofy music to that. If Sammy being 19 and won the game, they would not have put goofy music to that. But because Kyle and Kamilla's Secret Alliance did actually help and is a contributing factor, they're not putting any goofiness to it.
Yeah.
So, the drinking game. It was a rough start. Joe talks to Eva and says, "Did we just get duped on voting out Shaheen?" Eva's like, "Nah." and now in retrospect, I'm like, that's our second place player, the one who wouldn't even consider
that someone was lying on Survivor. Yeah.
Second place, everybody. The person who doesn't think that anybody's ever lied to her. Kamilla then says, I'm a great liar. I deserve an Emmy. And at this point, I was like, I could see Kamilla maybe winning too.
Dude, I honestly, like, going into this episode, I mean, I think I even had last week, Kamilla was, she was my number 2 after Joe. So, like, I would have expected if someone was going to win between Kyle and Kamilla, it was going to be Kamilla.
Well, if they're both in the final 3, I wonder how that would have turned out. I don't think Joe gets the votes based on what we saw tonight. I don't think Joe gets the votes to beat Kyle and Kamilla in the final 3. I think...
No, I don't think so.
Joe needed to... I think, honestly, and I've said this, I think every season of our podcast, I think going into Fire, whether you think you need to or not, always helps. And to skirt around Fire, the fire making competition, can only hurt you. Even if you win. I'm aware. I'm not talking results. Well, they won, so they didn't need to. I'm aware. I'm aware you can win and not go to Fire. I'm saying I think it always helps. Look at Eva. She got 2 votes. Was Girl getting 2 votes if she didn't go to Fire? I want to know that.
No, because Star said explicitly that, you know, the only reason she voted for Eva was because
the glint in her
of the
eye.
Way that Eva the way that Eva like fought in Fire.
Sure.
So I think that's at least one vote. And I don't know, would Star voted for Kyle if not Eva? Probably, maybe.
It is
Who
too
knows?
late for the 49 cast. Hopefully they listen to somebody. I don't care if it's me, just somebody. If you get a chance to go to fire making, do it. Do it, because it always helps if you win. Joe was like, I'm afraid to go to Fire because, like, what if I have an off day? And it's like, that's the wrong mindset. If you're not here to win, what are you doing? And this episode, there was just like multiple times where it's like, I'm like so split on Joe. I'm like, why are they giving us so much positive Joe content and like wanting us to root for Joe for him to be the final 3 GOAT?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Does it count as a GOAT if he got a vote, though?
He was the GOAT. I mean, Kyle took him. Kyle took him to 3 knowing he could beat him. Shaheen even set up on the jury. I knew I could beat you too. I mean, it was laid out that Joe was a GOAT. Joe of Joe's own volition, though, because I think Joe could have won the game, but Joe just kind of like slid into final 3 and let what happened happen because Joe was a newbie basically to the show.
Yeah.
And it looked like it. It looked like it. Lack of experience.
Maybe he'll do better on 50.
So if you're listening to this podcast and you're applying for 51, 52, because I believe they're casting for it, I want to highly encourage you to not Mitch the situation. Play a game that you can to point to when you reach Final Tribal, because Joe had some stuff he could have pointed to. I mean, he had relationships and everything. He just fumbled. Kyle earned it. I'm not downplaying Kyle. I'm just saying Joe had a chance. He just fumbled it as well. But I want to say that go into Final 4 fire making intending to make fire. It does not matter if you win immunity. Like I would personally feel better seeing a Final 3 knowing I won fire and like at least I gave it a shot. Now, if there is no fire make competition because we voted it away as fans, well, good for you. Lucky for you.
No
one else can be uplifted because they won fire. But don't let somebody else be that person who gets uplifted for winning fire. That's all I'm saying. Like Kyle should have made fire. Joe should have made fire. I mean, Joe offered, but it's only to like help Eva. It wasn't because he wanted to.
Yeah, I really thought that Kyle was going to put himself in fire against Kamilla and beat her. And like that would have, I mean, I think he would have come closer to a clean sweep of the jury if he had done something like that. Especially just, you know, once he was able to reveal like how closely he and Kamilla were working the whole time. And like, you know, she truly was his biggest competition. And so, yeah, if you're able to take out your biggest competition going into the final 3, like that's really good. So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of expected him to do that, but I don't know. I guess he didn't need to. Would have been cool, though.
It's true. It's true. Well, we go to. All right. So I kind of want to blow through the beginning of this episode because Kamilla winning immunity and Mitch going to the jury, believe it or not, was spoiled by the TV ads. Now, I personally try to avoid spoilers to the best of my ability. People message me, people email me stuff, and I'm like, please, could you not? I ignore it. Like, I just ignore. But what's a TV ad to me? That's fair game. I'm like, you put it in an ad on TV, I'm gonna look. So I went and watched it because it was commented a bunch of times. I'm like, oh shoot. I'm like, it's a TV ad. All right, I'll go look. Kamilla is like shown wearing the immunity necklace, and Mitch is shown like walking in behind Shaheen. Did you know this, Rebecca?
No, I didn't know this.
That's what
crazy.
you get for not running the like YouTube channel with the comments and everything, because you didn't. Thankfully, you were unspoiled. So that's why. But when you messaged me during the episode, you're like, I wonder who's going to win immunity. I was like, Kamilla wins immunity and Mitch has gone 5. You're like, yeah, probably. I'm like, yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. You do say things very confidently sometimes, and you're just speculating. So I was assuming that's what was happening.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm aware. But to be honest, like that, it wasn't super surprising to me. And it did kind of feel like the show in some ways kind of rushed through it. I mean, they definitely let Kamilla have her moment with like winning and saying like, you know, wow, this is so cool that, you know, I can't be voted out and my family thought I was going to get voted out first. Like, I did really enjoy Camilla's arc this season.
Jeff prompted.
He did,
when she won, and he's prompting for emotional. He wants emotional stuff to be said.
And call me a sucker, but I love those moments. So like, yeah, that was like really cool. And, you know, I enjoyed Camilla's arc this season. I would love to see her play again. But that being said, yeah, I think it makes sense that things kind of happened this way, especially with Mitch going. Did not expect to see him in the final 3.
So Mitch voted out, Kamilla wins immunity, and a come from behind. We had the scramble for an advantage that kind of was like a nothing advantage. I mean, Kamilla tossed the ball, the same effectiveness as Eva just putting the ball into the net hoop thing. So it was kind of a nothing advantage. So we kind of wasted our time this episode watching them do a word puzzle for it, but whatever. I mean, whatever gets the season over with, you know what I mean? So Kamilla wins immunity, takes Eve on reward. Mitch jokes about how they look, and Kyle says, I'm voting you off tonight. Mitch is like, ha ha ha. And Mitch is like, I want Joe out. And this is again, I'm like, another time they're gonna want Joe out and Joe's not gonna go. Remember, they made such, and I know everybody wants to act like episode 11 didn't happen. But the episode 11 was all about 1000%. The entire episode was, we need to get Joe out. Joe's going to win. And we all came out of episode 11 going, holy crap. Like, they didn't get out Joe. Joe's going to win. Like, cause that's what the episode led us to believe. So it's only after episode 12 when I saw a flurry of comments saying Kyle's going to win. But after episode 11, people were not talking that way. People were all aboard Joe winning train. Go back and look through the comments. You can see it. There's always a handful of people saying other people. And good for you for standing by your convictions. But I mean, after episode 11, it was like everybody and their mother's like, the season's over. Like, season's done. Joe won. Yeah. Like, everyone was saying, like, and I
this
say
season
everyone
could have been an email.
Yeah, that everyone was saying that. It was like 90% of comments, 90% of people were saying that. So to act like a majority of people knew the whole time it was Kyle is nonsense. It wasn't until episode 12 when the flurry of Kyle comments came in. I want to point that out. Yeah. So, and episode 12 was the first time I even seriously considered Kyle. So yeah. Color me surprised well for the most part.
And it's again, I kind of like, I mean, I think Kyle is a great winner. Like, he had so many great, like, funny moments throughout the season. Like, the whole thing about the wart on his hand that he thought was like a callus or something. Like, truly a great winner. And I do feel kind of bad that he, like, his edit seems like it was so downplayed compared to Joe, just because Joe is like production's favorite.
Joe
for some
was like
reason.
Beloved by Jeff or whoever's in charge of Joe's edit was beloved.
Like, and I'm not saying, like, Joe's a great guy too. Like, I'm sure he deserves it, but he didn't win. It's not his season. So like, it is kind of confusing.
Right. Well, they should have put more effort into Eva, since Eva's going to get second place, in my opinion, the second half season. Eva kind of like faded into the background as a contender. But, yeah. Do you remember there was a scene, if I recall, where Kamilla, Shaheen, and Joe all got backstories with photos.
Yeah.
And Kyle just sat there and listened to them do it.
Yeah, that was right before the Thomas vote, I think, right?
No, it was after Thomas. It was when the 4 of them decided they're going to be a foursome.
Right after?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And I'm like, that was when I think that's when I started going all in on these 4 reaching the finale as a unit. And Mary's going to be the 5th person. I think it's around that time.
That was also the same episode where Joe didn't get a confessional. And so that was part of the argument, was like, well, he didn't get a confessional, but he did get the personal content, the sob story and everything.
So there were some hints tonight, even before Mitch got voted off. Mitch talks to everybody. Mitch like knows he's going. And I think Kyle got the best scene out of the remaining final 5, like with Mitch. Like, reconnected with Mitch and like hugged him and everything. It's like, okay, Mitch is voting for Kyle. Like, Mitch, if Kyle's final 3, I knew Mitch was voting for Kyle. Like, there's already some votes. I thought Mitch was voting for Kyle. I thought this is a very Siva heavy jury, and it helped Kyle.
Truly, yeah.
Joe needed Eva on the jury, and he didn't even acknowledge it.
Because I think, honestly, either Kyle or Kamilla being on the jury, like, Kamilla very clearly was pulling for Kyle and was supporting him, and like,
she's like, I'll help you. She's like mouthing to him.
Yeah. She's like, I got you. Yeah.
Which is good for, like, that's part of like the good person to have on the jury. Whereas I think if Eva had been on the jury and Kyle and Kamilla were in the final three, you know, it's almost like Joe kind of needed to like not help Eva get good at fire.
Honestly, I mean, I don't think he would have ever done this, but if Joe would have beaten Eva in fire, like, that would have been his best bet. He never would have done that. They never would have put those two in fire together. It seemed like Kamilla wanted Kyle fire, Kyle wanted, and like Joe was the only situation. There's no situation where Joe and Eva are facing on fire, unless Mitch won Final Four immunity. Again, how did we get to that situation? I want to throw out there though the Final Four immunity challenge. The again, it's Emotion again, which I bet you is what we voted for 50 as well. So look forward to this in a year. We talk about it in a year's time, and then, but instead, Jeff be like, "You voted for it." Yeah, because we only had 3 options, Jeff. You wanted this.
I only recognized like 2 of them. Anyways, again, this on the hill at sunset is not a budget issue. It is a creative issue. This challenge could look so epic with the right lighting and the right timing of the day, but they just do it at their like one of the regular challenge locations in the middle of the day. It's kind of like, yeah, all right, it's Emotion, whatever. Like, where's the pizzazz? It's all in Joe's edit, but where's the pizzazz with the challenges?
Yeah, all the pizzazz budget went to Joe's edit this season.
Really did. My goodness. Yeah, so I put Mitch's voted out. Kyle reminds us that him and Kamilla are a secret duo. I'm like, oh my gosh. So you better believe, obviously, so Kyle won. I guess I should have said this earlier. No, I never made the thumbnail, obviously, because as I said last week, I was not 100. If I'm 100% confident, I make the thumbnail for the winter video weeks ahead. I never made Joe's thumbnail because I was never 100% confident it was Joe. There's always something a little nagging, but I was all in on him being my number one. Obviously, I'm not gonna like pretend that it didn't happen, but I never made his thumbnail. So now I gotta make Kyle's, and like I don't know what the name of his video is gonna be, but you better believe I gotta have a counter or something for every flipping time. I think Kamilla might have mentioned they're in a secret alliance, but it was really Kyle who was leading the charge on mentioning, as you know, I'm in a secret alliance. Nobody knows I'm in a secret alliance. Kamilla, we're in a secret alliance. Like, holy crap. That's got to be the running joke of the winter video.
Absolutely.
I mean, holy crap, man. I don't know if I'm going to put a counter on screen, but it'll definitely be the running gag for sure. Kyle's winter video, I'm going to work on that here soon as well. That'll be on Patreon as soon as I'm done with it. Anyways, he reminds us they're in a secret duo. You know, you're dead from drinking game if you binge this season, that's for sure. Eva thinks Joe next to her at 3 will be fine. I guess she was right.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote it down like she's wrong when I wrote it, but I guess she's right. I guess she was fine. It was a 2-1 vote, but let's say it was her, Joe, and Mitch. Does Eva win?
Actually, yeah, she might have. I can't
believe there was a final 3 where Eva won. It was Joe and Mitch.
Yeah. Like, I think she would have had to win fire in the way that she did.
Sure. And she still beats Kamilla or Kyle, doesn't matter.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be possible, which is crazy.
Mitch won Final Four immunity, sends Eva and Kamilla to fire. No, he would have sent Joe because remember all game he's been trying to get out Joe without trying to do anything at the same time.
What if he sent Joe and Eva and then Joe sacrificed his game for Eva, but she's still like, I mean, he would have still had to compete, I guess.
There were so many comments, people saying that Joe's going to throw the game for Eva. He's just going to throw the game for Eva on purpose. And I'm like, I don't see that happening. And even tonight, Joe's like, I'm not going to like sit here and knock Eva, but I'm still trying to win. And it's like, okay, that's what I expected. But like, there's so many people like commenting, you know, Joe's going to, like he said, he's going to throw the game for Eva. He's going to let her win on purpose.
Yeah. Well, there was the moment when she was like struggling to practice fire and he came up to her and was like, please let me make fire for you. I thought that was going to be the moment, like the payoff for what he said earlier in the season of like, maybe he, you know, he's like, hey, let me, either he convinces Kyle to like put him in fire or whatever so that Eva doesn't have to, then maybe he loses that fire. That was what I was expecting to happen, but yeah, clearly not. I don't know. good for Eva too. I mean, she killed the fire, so good for her.
So true, dude. So true. Put yourself in fire. If you're going to be on Survivor in the future, 51, 52, whatever season you're on, people who are listening, put yourself in fire. I know it's scary. That's why you practice before you go out there. Don't be doing it for the first time when you're out there. Don't be that guy. Don't be learning how to swim on Survivor. Don't learn how to make fire on Survivor. All you should be doing out there is honing your skills that you already have. Do not go out there not knowing how to do these things. These are basics.
The thing to me that is honestly scarier with fire is the wind factor.
Sure.
Because I mean, that almost got Eva tonight. It got Teeny last season. And it's like that, because you can't control that.
Did it get Kamilla tonight? Is that what you're saying? Or it really affected Eva?
No, it affected Eva. I mean, she was able to overcome it, but it's still like, yeah, that was close. I mean, like, because what I'm saying is you can practice as much as you want, but it is still a risk to put yourself in fire either way. But I think that's the thing is like, that's what earns you the brownie points from the jury is like you put yourself at risk. And then if you're able to, it's a high risk, high reward situation. Yeah. I mean, obviously either you're going to go home or you're going to get more, maybe sway people more towards voting for you to win. So yeah, high risk, high reward.
I mean, Kyle didn't need it, but I think Kyle could have, I mean, if it would have helped, he might've gotten even more votes, than he did. Joe needed it.
Absolutely.
Eva got the most capitalization out of it, getting 2 votes. I think everyone was shocked that Eva got second this season. Nobody last week was saying Eva second. I didn't see any comments.
No.
Nobody was crediting Eva. There was a couple people like, why can't Eva win? And I'm like, hey, I guess now in retrospective, you were wrong, but you were also not too far off. She got second. Better than my number 1 pick. All right. So Kamilla then tells Kyle, I can't be next to you at final 3. And he's like, yeah, no, that makes sense. So Kyle wins immunity sim motion. Tells Joe, oh yeah, you're good, Joe. And when we go to tribal, he says, Joe's in the final 3 with me. And the reactions from the jury seem to show that Kyle was wrong for his, like they were like shocked that he did that. Right. And I'm like, again, another thing where the show is trying to lead us into thinking that Joe is going to win. Why does the show put so much effort this season into tricking us into Joe when they should have been trying to trick us into Eva? Because they love Joe.
True.
Jeff loves Joe.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't get why we're being tricked in the final 3 go. Like I totally got when it's like Kenzie and Charlie and it's like, all right, well, yeah, let's first and second. And it was a tie, or it wasn't, sorry, it wasn't a tie. It was 1 vote off. It was 5-3.
Yeah. Very
Austin
close.
and D, it was like 5-3, like it was close. Like I get it. But like Joe wasn't even second. Why are we being tricked? What is all this love for Joe? I don't get it. People are going to rewatch the season and be like, yeah, I totally could tell from the beginning it was Kyle. And like, sure. But why so much love for Joe?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I think that like I'm not upset by this plot twist because I think they did a great job of keeping Kyle present throughout the season. And so like, yeah, he was always a character. He has, funny moments. He has personal moments. He has like all the things that you want to see from a good winner. And he has this secret alliance with Kamilla, which is, always a thing. I know. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that they were working together, but they were the whole time. Yeah, so like I'm not mad with him as the winner, but you're right. It is kind of just like, yeah, why did we focus on Joe so much?
Yeah.
I think the answer is because Jeff loves Joe.
I feel bad for Kyle. I mean, sure, he won $600,000 after Obama takes it, and he did get like the most confessionals. At the same time, it's like, I don't know. I'm sure Kyle's fine. I hope he's fine. He won. But at the same time, it's like, I couldn't imagine watching a season where I won, and I'm seeing just the absolute dedication and love for Joe in the edit all season up through episode 11. It was the Joe show. Up through 2 episodes ago, it was all about Joe. Everyone came out of episode 11 being Joe. Why did we get Joe? Joe didn't have immunity. He should have gone. Hard to say. I feel bad for the winner, but it's not Natalie White, Russell Hantz by any means. Right. But it's a little bit like the love they gave Russell Hantz. A little bit like that for Joe. A little bit. It's not a direct comparison, but. And then Russell Hantz came back for Heroes vs. Villains. That's why people I think were like, is Joe come back for 50 if he loses because of how much love they're giving him?
Honestly, at this point, I would be surprised if he's not on 50. I guess we'll know next week.
Next week, Jeff is on CBS Morning with Joe.
Right.
Just like as everyone knows, my new era best buddy is Joe. Since Boston Rob won't be on the season,
is Joe.
Joe's going to read the cast list. Joe's like, I don't recognize some of these names.
Do you think Joe is going to become the new Boston Rob? Because Boston Rob is too famous to be on Survivor now.
I think Boston Rob and Joe are of a similar age. So believe it or not, Boston Rob got a much earlier start.
Yeah, but I think Boston Rob is just like, I don't know if he's too famous to be on Survivor, but
it's not that. I think Boston Rob just like,
he just doesn't want to go live on an island.
What does he have left to show on the show? Like, so he can get on there and be voted off pre-merge again. What's the point, you know?
Yeah.
At this point, like Boston Rob's game is done. It probably should have been done after Redemption Island, but shoot, why not do Winners at War, you know? Like, what's he won?
Give it a shot.
Cochran is another player who like he won Caramoan, and then they asked for Winners at War. He's like, no. And I bet you if any winners are on 50, if there's a male winner, I bet you Cochran would be like Jeff's like, oh, gotta get Cochran. I love Cochran. Jeff really wanted Cochran at 40 and multiple times said that's the one that got away for this season. So I bet if there's a male winner on 50 and Jeff got to choose, it's Cochran.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to see him play again. That'd be fun.
So Eva wins fire. She reveals she's getting a PhD. Kyle reveals he's a lawyer. Joe's like, I'm just a fire captain. And it's like a funny moment, right? It's a funny moment for Joe. And then we cut to Joe getting talked for final tribal. It's like, again, it's like they let us up for Joe. Joe gets the funny moment. Like they're to reveal their thing, and Joe like it's the funny reaction. But it's not like dunking on Joe for not knowing this about these two. It's just like, I'm just a fire captain. What? And it's supposed to be like a funny moment.
And I thought even just like the way that these scenes were kind of cut together was another indication that I thought Joe was going to win, because they do like, you know, after they get the food, we hear from Kyle. He gets his confessional about like how he played his game, and we hear from like, you know, people on the jury who are supporting him or talking about his game. We hear from Eva, and then we have that scene that you were just talking about where they, reveal that, you know, they were a scientist and a lawyer the whole time. And then we cut to Joe. He's separated from the two of them. I mean, he's set up on this pedestal at the end of like, okay, now we're going to hear Joe's story and hear from everyone on the jury and how they're feeling about Joe and kind of spend more time in this moment. So yeah, just the way that like those scenes were put together, again, it just felt to me like they were really emphasizing Joe as they have been all season. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Oh, On Fire finished their finale podcast. Only 39 minutes for the finale.
Whoa.
Even Jeff didn't have much to say about 48.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy.
About the whole season. That is interesting. Yeah.
You know, you think during the podcast, he would also want to talk about 49 coming up and the 50 cast reveal, you know, without spoiling anything. 39 minutes. That's crazy. That's wild. I mean, he's had regular On Fire podcast regular episode On Fire podcast that lasts longer than 39 minutes, let alone for the finale.
Yeah.
What the heck? Did they not interview?
That is wild.
Did they not interview like Final 5 or whatever? Usually they interview like Final 4 or something.
It's just 36 minutes of Joe talking, and then everybody else gets 2 minutes.
Joe, tell us about your kids and your sister. And goodness gracious, dude. All right. That just tells you even Jeff kind of over it. Or Jeff's just like, I didn't want to do this podcast. One or the other.
Right.
All right. So we go Final Tribal. Rebecca, you informed me during this that your TV went out.
I know. Yeah, something was going on. I don't know, something with like the feed on my local station. So I set up a VPN real quick. It was a whole thing. So I basically,
you pay for a VPN just for this? That's wild.
But it's fine. Yeah, I just needed it for just like a short period of time. Yeah, literally.
Be like, cancel as a mistake.
Yeah, accidental charge, cough, cough.
Accidental charge, cough, cough. I talked about the podcast. Now it's...
I'm sending them an email.
Send them an email with a link to the podcast.
Oh, man. I was like, yeah, no, I just had to watch Survivor. But yeah, so I missed a little bit of the opening questions, but I think I caught most of it. I definitely like got the gist that Kyle definitely talked his way into like, yeah, I mean, I think his lawyer skills were very present in this final tribal.
And Joe didn't capitalize on anything.
He did not. I did see it as well when David finally broke character, and I feel like that was the most important moment of this whole tribal.
Yeah, we all love David. We all know it. We all, whether we admit it to ourselves or not, we all love David. I think this might be a record for the new era that every juror got to speak and ask a question. I could be wrong. I was taking notes on the fly. So I didn't get like everybody's responses and everything, but I got Cedric, Mitch, Chrissy, or maybe, Cedric, Mitch, Chrissy, Star, that's 4. Mary is 5. David is 6. Kamilla, 7. Oh, am I missing somebody? There's 8 jurors. So maybe only.
Did you already say Mitch?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else? Chrissy?
Chrissy got to ask a question.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying Shaheen got to talk, but I don't think he asked a question. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So everyone got to actually talk, which is an improvement because as everybody may have realized, starting with 46, Survivor's like, what if we just do final tribal like we used to, but instead of the jury standing up in front of the final 3, they sit down so we can cut out who we don't like. But this season, they didn't cut out anybody. Everybody got to at least speak and express their opinion in some way, shape, or form, which I appreciated. And I'm not going to knock them for that. So I'm down we're basically back to the regular final tribal. Tonight was the closest we've gotten back to the season 33 and before final tribal council format. And I'm down for it. Maybe for 50, they'll let them stand up.
Oh, that'd be wild.
Could you imagine that twist?
Just like plot twist, everybody. We're going to do something we've never done before on Survivor.
We've done this since season 33. A long time ago on Survivor. You get to stand up and ask your question, jury. What?
But hold your horses. You have to stand up just by where you're sitting. You don't get to walk over to that one circle or whatever.
Cut you out, we still can.
You just stand up right where you are and then you sit back down.
It was an overall, I would say above average tribal council from Kyle. Above average for what I expected of Eva. I don't know if it's actually above average, but it was
same.
Better than I expected from Eva, but not like super impressive. And Joe's just like sitting there listening and doing the thing he did all season where he just listens, which is great when you're on the island and listening to people, but terrible when you're trying to sell people on your game. And Joe came in and clearly did not understand how to Chris Doherty, this final tribal, where you convince everybody and their mother to vote for you, even if they hate you. I mean, nobody hated Joe as far as I know. And not even Dave. I think Dave, that's what I'm saying. I think David now in retrospect, even in his post, like he was holding to his little charade in post-game interviews, or maybe he really is ticked, but I don't know. It seemed like an act that he had planned out.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like David has really good commitment to the bit. Like, and so, yeah, I would not be surprised if he was just like, just staying committed, like you said, to his persona on the jury up to this point.
Well, screw it. Now's the time. I was emailed a video.
Yes.
I was emailed a video that includes, I'll just show it to you. We'll show it and I'll talk about it.
One last thing. Your favorite podcaster is Once Upon an Island, and I actually really enjoyed their work. Maybe I'm biased, again, because they seem to enjoy myself, so hey. But, you know what? I will say, Once Upon an Island, I appreciate your podcast. I did listen to pretty much all of it, and, you can call that egocentric or narcissist, whatever you want to say. But anyway, regardless, I hope that you can help these lovely people out and do a trivia Jeopardy question for Shay here. So, on behalf of me to Once Upon an Island, this is a request through the Cameo asking you for the help. Much appreciated. And if you ever need anything from me, Once Upon an Island, please reach out to me. So, there you go.
Okay, so that was sent to me via an email. I left it uncut. Yes, I did send that person a happy birthday message. But my question is, I don't think David's on 50. We'll find out next Wednesday. Should David be on a podcast to see for 49 like Rome was for 48? I want that down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think on David joining us for a podcast. David, if he's not committing to the bit, we have a lot of bits.
I don't know. We've got a lot of poop based bits too. I don't know how on board he'd be with that.
Rome was unimpressed.
I feel like David would be more on board than Rome was.
Do you think David would drop a what about Genevieve during the podcast?
Oh, that would be awesome. Oh, that would give me
Genevieve's
life.
on 50 and we get David join us for a 50 podcast. He's like, what about Genevieve? And I'm like, oh, can I love this man anymore? All right.
We just get him to record sound bites of all our running bits so we can just play them.
We have like a soundboard of David saying all our running bits. Yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Overall, kind of it was a long 2.5 hours with commercials. believe it or not.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it makes sense how Kyle won. I wish the show had put more love into Kyle's edit instead of waiting. It felt like it was the Joe show for so long. And by the time we're supposed to consider Kyle on a serious level, it was episode 12, in my opinion. I understand some people saw it earlier. Great, good for you. I am now 8 for 10 on calling winners.
Yes.
So my number dropped to 80%. Hopefully with 49, I'll jump back up. I'll be 9 for 11. We'll see. Yeah, I was wrong. Kyle won. Good job, Kyle. Okay, let's move on to what's new on Patreon. As always, these podcasts are early and ad free, including next week we do the 50 cast. And Survivor Caramel podcast should be soon. And we're going to be doing, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Rebecca and I will be doing that first Thursday of every month. That will be on Patreon as soon as we're done recording it, which will be well before. How to Fix Survivor will be on Patreon very soon with your all's opinions and my own, along with a bunch of other content creators. Every funny moment in Survivor history, which as you can see from this cover photo, features David standing up at Tribal. Why he do that? I don't know.
I don't know, but it's iconic. And a great meme, honestly. Such a good meme. Like, yeah, I appreciate his commitment to bits and like that. I think my impression of that is it was something he just kind of like did in the moment. But like, truly, yeah, just it's such a great meme. I don't know. That's all I have to say about it. It was very funny.
The new era Survivor rankings are on Patreon right now as well, featuring myself, Rebecca, and Masson. We rank all 8 seasons, talk about them all in depth. That's a good time. So check us out on Patreon. Your patronage keeps us sponsorship free. It's how we're able to talk about the show without having to worry about our opinions and everything. All right. So let's move on to trivia questions. Currently, Rebecca, what is the score?
So currently you have 5 points and I have 6 points. It has been a tight race this season, but I have held a narrow lead for most of the season. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens
tonight. We're doing 3 questions. But again, reminder, first Thursday of every month before Survivor 49. So June, July, August, September, we're going to be doing basically a trivia question podcast where Rebecca and I grill each other. And whoever wins, which is great. But you can participate as well. And one random person who participates will get a free month of Patreon at the highest tier. So even if you're already paid patron, even if you have the highest tier, it's a free month. Like you don't have to pay for a whole month, and you can participate in every part of Patreon for that month for free. All you do is participate in the podcast, which we will talk about obviously in depth on the actual podcast. So look out for that. First Thursday of June is the first one. Okay, Rebecca, we have 3 questions for each other. Hopefully there's no tie. I did not plan on a tiebreaker question, but if there is, we will figure it out. So let's go back to back. You're ahead. So I'll ask you the first question. Then you ask me your first question. We'll snake it or whatever it's called. All right. Rebecca, your first question is, who won immunity in season 7 just to have it taken away because they misspelled a word? Your options are Sandra, Rupert, Dara, or Burton.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't remember. I don't think it was Sandra or Rupert, but I could be wrong. Might have been Rupert. But sorry, say the other 2 options again.
Sandra, Rupert, Dara, and Burton.
I'm gonna guess Dara. That's just my guess.
That is incorrect. It was Burton. But
dang, okay.
Burton lost because he misspelled a word, liaison, and Jeff's like, I was wrong. Come back here after you're already given Burton immunity. And Dara ended up winning it. So my question was, who won just to have it taken away? So you would have been right if I just asked who won, but no.
Who won?
No, they had it taken away. It was Burton.
Dang.
All right, what's your question, Rebecca?
Wow, there you go. All right. My first question for you is, what is the earliest season where there have been no first-time castaways who have returned? All right. So your options are Guatemala, Fiji, which is season 14, to be clear.
Who have never
Caramoan.
returned?
Yeah, so no first-time castaways.
The first time playing was the season you're talking about, and they've never returned. Okay.
Correct. Yep. So, Guatemala, Fiji, season 14, Caramoan, or David versus Goliath.
Caramoan.
That is correct, yeah.
Fiji had Yao-Ming come back. And what's it called? Guatemala had the winner, Danny Boatwright, come back. So Yeah, Caramoan.
Yes.
While there were a bunch of returnees on it, none of the new people ever came back to play again, which is fine. All right, so now we're tied. Yay!
Oh boy, we got a game. Okay, let's go.
Your next question is: who came up with Plan Voodoo in season 13 Cook Islands? You see, to win this game, I had to pull questions from older seasons. Who came up with Plan Voodoo in season 13 Cook Islands? Your options are Cowboy, Ozzy, Yule, or Brad. And yes, these are all real people who played on season 13.
Yes.
Cowboy, Ozzy, Yule, or Brad.
My first thought before you even said anybody was Ozzy. I don't know if that's correct, but I'm going to go with that. That's my gut.
That is incorrect. It was Cowboy who said, I had a dream on how to get rid of the super idol. A shaman lady came to me and asked me about credit card applications. And she's like, oh, do you have an American Express? Do you have a Visa? He's like, and that's where I realized that's how you get rid of the immunity idol, 3 and 3. And I'm like, wait, what? Cowboy, unironically, like, it seemed like such a crazy man to come up with actual, and he tells this to Yule, who has the super idol in his pocket, and Yule's like, oh, Cowboy's got to go.
Funny. Oh, man. I got to go back and rewatch that season.
It's a great season. Cook Islands, the season where they separate everybody by race, ends up being not that controversial.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they did that.
Yeah, I mean, that part.
What a wild time.
Yeah, they would never do that. Oh, could you imagine? That would be like 49. We're doing the race thing again. Like, oh.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay.
I mean, I'll watch, but I'm not sure if this is a good call.
But yikes.
All right, Rebecca, what's your next question?
Okay. All right. Hopefully I can stump you with these next two. All right. So my next question for you is, what season was the first season to contain multiple contestants from Canada? Okay. So options are Island of the Idols, season 41,
Probably.
season 45, or season 46.
Nah, it's gotta be, what was the second? Where the second option was?
Season 41. Yeah. That is correct. Yeah, it was Erica and Shan were the two Canadians that season.
Well. Like Kamilla, I'm coming back in this.
Technically, I think you've already won because...
No, I got one more question for you. You can tie it.
No, but you have 8 now. I have 6.
What? Rebecca, we started this podcast. I had 5. You did the math wrong.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm at 7. You're at 6.
Okay, take it back. Okay, I'm still in this.
Yes,
all right.
If you missed this,
second wind. Let's go.
All right, so this one is, how many times has the Survivor auction happened? Your options are 13, 16, 18, 21.
Oh my goodness. I would have guessed it was more than that, but I guess they must have not introduced it for a while.
Oh, it started in season 2. It just wasn't every season.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I mean, I guess I'll guess the highest number. You said 21 was the highest?
That's the highest number, yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll guess that.
It was 18.
18? Dang, I feel like they've done that way more times. That's crazy. There you go.
All right, ask me your last question, even though I've already won. Amazing. Okay,
now you have
amazing
officially
finale.
won.
This makes up for Joe losing.
Oh, dang. Okay. So in season 2, the Australian Outback, what was Tina Wesson's luxury item?
Oh, shoot.
Your options are...
Yeah, that's a stumper.
I know. This was such a good question, too. Your options are a chessboard, a backgammon board. Okay. Do you want me? Okay, yeah, you're right. It was a backgammon board.
What are other options going to be?
Deck of cards or a journal.
I remember them playing backgammon, and the fact that you said it just tells me that probably was her. I didn't know it was her luxury item. I just knew that backgammon. I mean, off the top of my head, I didn't know it, but I knew that backgammon. They played it a bunch, and Survivor's like, "No, we can't have people having fun." I think Survivor needs to let them bring luxury items, but luxury items that people like forces them to interact with other people. Like backgammon requires it. Like I remember season 3, Africa, they were playing chess, and it revealed that everybody, Big Tom is actually way smarter than they originally thought because he was really good at chess.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it's like those kind of things they missed the mark on, not letting them.
I think that they should let the luxury items be like, they should just combine that with the family visit. So like your luxury item is your loved one, and then they just get to hang out with you in Fiji for the rest of the season. That's my suggestion. All
right, well, let's go through your all's questions. I asked for your all's questions here on YouTube. A lot of them are, I knew it the whole time Kyle's going to win. So enjoy your time in the sun. Next season, I'll be back with a vengeance to hopefully be 9 for 11. All right. So the first question is from Shin, who says, no questions. Just here to say that the conclusion of the season is very underwhelming. I agree, but I also understand the ending, if that makes sense. What do you think, Rebecca?
Yeah. I mean, I agree and understand. I think there was kind of the initial like shock and surprise of like, oh, this is okay, Kyle won. And then it was like, yeah, maybe a little disappointment of like, why did they edit the season this way if he was going to win? But at the same time, I mean, I've been saying this whole season, like, I do like plot twists, so I can't be too mad about it. I mean, I appreciate that there was some like misleading in the edit, I guess. I just wish it would have been a little bit less about one specific person who was just going to be the final 3 GOAT.
Right. If they're going to give Joe that much love, they needed to equal it out with Kyle. Like it needed to, or Eva. I mean,
or even
I
other
don't know.
people.
Like, why did Joe get all this love?
Even focus more on Mitch maybe, or Kamilla, or like, like other people, just spread it out a little bit. That would have been nice.
Next question from Anti-Brainiacs. They said, I know you were super high on Joe the entire season. At what point in the episode did you realize he was not winning? My answer to that, and I commented actually, because I was doom scrolling and waiting for the flippin' 49 preview to happen, which ended up being a big ball of nothing. I said last week when Shaheen went, and what I mean by that is that it's not that I still obviously had Joe at number 1, but I'm saying like, when's the first time I actually considered anyone else had a legit shot at winning was when Shaheen went. And I was like, and I said it last week on both podcasts. I'm like, Kyle's the only other person here who can win other than Joe. I still think Joe's going to win, but I think if anyone else is going to win, it has to be Kyle. Like it's just nothing. Nobody else has been set up for a win. And yeah, that turned out to be correct. But no, I still had Joe at number 1. So, all right, next question is from Carrie Boo. Were you previously aware that there was both a masculine and a feminine way to drink milk until David enlightened us? Did you know this, Rebecca?
This was news to me. Yeah, no, this was news to me. I also wonder if there has anything to do with like, are you drinking skim milk? Are you drinking whole milk? Like, I'm curious. I have some follow-up questions for David about this, but yeah, I guess if he and
we gotta have him on the podcast.
He ends up being on the podcast, we got to ask him these questions. So yeah,
for real. Mary did get to watch the finale. Kids were all sleeping. She stayed up and she went to go take a shower during the after show because she knows how worthless it is.
Yeah.
And then she came out during the 49 preview and I'm like, whoa, look, they're in Fiji playing Survivor. And she rolled her eyes. And then I told her about the masculine feminine thing. She's like, what? And I showed her and she's like, I don't think that means anything. So I don't think Mary was not convinced.
It does not.
Okay. Mary was not convinced when I told her. Mr. Bro says, finally, after 13 seasons, the final 3 all received a jury vote. And hey, that's true. Like when they showed one person, they showed one when he Cedric for Joe. I was like, Cedric. Like, oh, no, we did not know what to do with you, did we? Cedric votes for Joe. They showed Mary voting for Eva, and of course Kamilla voting for Kyle. That was obvious, that one.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, all 3 got a vote. Like when was the last time that's happened? For once, once.
I think actually the most shocking moment for me of this whole episode was when he revealed that Eva got a second vote. I did not see that coming. That was very surprising.
No, Star voting for Eva while on brand for Star being again, like, what is Star doing? At the same time, like, why Eva was second place and all this love was for all right. Next question is from John L. I wonder what Kyle's story video will be called. He doesn't have an easy brand to focus on. I joked Secret Alliance, but I am going to ask all patrons once I make his thumbnail, put it up on there for a story video name. I'm sure somebody will come up with a good one, but I mean, the running gag of his video has to be the Secret Alliance. Like, even though it matters, like, come on. Otherwise, we're going to all be bored watching a recap of 48. All right. Nikki said, not a question, just a comment. At least you can maintain a 0 confessional episode is indeed a death knell. True. That is like, we need next season. If it happens, they watch this though. Next season, now they're going to do it. Next season, the winner's going to get a 0 confessional episode just because.
Honestly, I would love it. I want them to do that so bad. That would be incredible.
I thought it was this season, frankly, how much they love Joe.
Yeah, but I think they're just messing with us. Like, they're setting us up this season so that the next season we're going to be like, oh, well, okay, now it does matter. And then they're going to make it not matter. And I'm here for that.
Next one's from BFL highlight tape. Wesley wouldn't even consider a possibility outside of Joe. My response is I'm 99% sure I said last week that Kyle was the only other one who could win both podcasts. But again, enjoy your time in the sun, those who are Kyle believers all season. All right, next question is from Matsu. What a poorly edited season. Joe didn't even get second place. Yes, agreed. What was the point of this edit? Just the Joe was third. What? What? Amanda Talks Wrestling says, anyone else get Gablered?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, you kind of said this earlier, but I don't think this was quite as bad, or quote unquote bad. I'm saying bad in quote marks, but I don't think it was as bad as Gabler's season, because I do think Kyle was very prevalent for the whole season. He had funny moments, he had personal moments, he had strategy moments.
Just overshadowed. So, like, that was the thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad.
Like, I think Kyle had a strong story, but yes, you're so right. He was just overshadowed by Joe. Exactly.
But if Joe had gotten, like, if Kyle, the amount of love for Kyle was there, but if it was equal for Joe, then we would be like, oh, it's Joe or Kyle, Joe or Kyle. That's what we've been like. Kenzie Charlie, been like, it's one of them. But like, they clearly were putting more effort into Joe, despite less confessionals. They were putting more effort into Joe constantly, all the time. I remember that one moment in episode 2 when somebody came and told Joe. Sorry, my words are all mixed up here. Came and talked to Joe, told him something, and they took a moment to have Joe talk to himself and consider what he was going to do. And it's just one of those moments that normally they do for winners. Like, we do not need this extra time. We could have gone from them telling Joe and Joe going over talking to whoever he's talking to next. But instead, they took time to have Joe talk to himself. He's like, oh, this conundrum I'm in. And like, again, last week when we're at Tribal Council and the winner is getting muted so we can focus on what Joe is thinking. And it's like, that's like, this is what I mean. Like, they love Joe. They love Joe. They love Joe. Joe has got to be at 50, right? That's our last question from Ned Ward. Are we getting Joe at 50? I'm surprised if we didn't.
Yeah, I would be shocked if we didn't. I mean, I've been saying all season I would be shocked if Joe didn't win. So I guess, could get blindsided again. But I don't know. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he wasn't on 50 at this point.
Well. This is our shortest podcast of the season. It's about the finale. But I mean, let's be real. Like, the 49 preview gave us nothing. Just nothing there. Nothing about 4. Okay.
Boats, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
question mark?
Yeah. I feel so bad because I don't think anybody from 49 is going to be at 50, because if they revealed that, would that be revealing the person doesn't win 49 if they're on 50? Like, if are there any winners on 50, and that they revealed somebody from 49 on 50, would that reveal, Also, if they tell us somebody from 49 is on 50, that means that they're a prominent person and we need to know that going into 49. I don't know.
Right, yeah. Or if they just like reveal the cast list and there's just one name on there, just like, because they don't say what season everyone's from. They're just like, oh, here's all. Yeah, it's like, but then there's one person on there who's like Steve or something, and everybody's like, who's Steve? Just some guy from season 49 or whatever. Or
they might reveal the cast and be like, and there's one slot for 49, but we're not gonna tell you who it is yet. I mean, that could be
the
only way I could see that. But yeah, at the moment it's like, is name 49 even gonna make it on 50? I don't even know. Again, we'll talk about it next Wednesday when they drop the cast. That'll be on Patreon as soon as it's done. Shoot, Rebecca, I guess this really is our shortest podcast of the season, for real.
Yeah. We could, I don't know. We didn't rabbit trail as much tonight, I guess.
No, we only recorded for 13 hours. That's less than our usual, 65, so.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was a longer episode, so you have less time to you got to cut this down a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
I'll probably try to get down to an hour, 5 hours, 6, something like that.
Okay. That's not bad.
It's only got to cut 12 hours out of the podcast to make that happen. I'll do it. I'll do it for the fans. Well, hey, that's the end of our 10th season of Podcasting Survivor Live. We are definitely looking forward to some of our off-season stuff, as we said. We appreciate you all supporting us throughout the seasons, even when they're boring ones like this one. We are looking forward to 49. We hope 49 is good, but on a real note, we're obviously all excited for 50. And that it kind of sucks that they couldn't just do back-to-back. I don't know. Maybe that would diminish 50 if they did 49 as returning season as well. Maybe we'd feel burnt out. But I'm with you. I feel like Rebecca, you had a good idea earlier. They should have done a captain season for 49.
Yeah.
Or a couple returnees.
It doesn't have to be all returnees. Just throw 3 of them in there or something. And
why not a 3-tribe season, which, what? There's 3 tribes next season.
Shocking.
One of the 3 tribes returnees. I don't know. It's like returnees that were, it'd be like the people they cut from 50, Carolyn, Rome.
Okay, that would actually be awesome.
This tribe was cut from 50. So we put them on 49. What's the theme of 49 at that point? Rejects? Survive 49. Yeah. Rejects coming fall 2025.
Bitterness. Yeah.
And then like the returnees are all like, I'm going to show Jeff why you should have put me on 50.
What if, okay, wait. Hear me out. Season 49 is, Rejects. Like there's one tribe of returnees. Yeah. And Jeff says, okay, there's one slot on season 50 that we haven't filled yet.
Best returnee
So whoever's the most, the best returnee from this season gets that slot, and you got to earn it. That would be so fun. That would feel
really bad for all the newbies who are like, do we get a shot? Jeff's like, no, I don't. No.
Yeah. Well, he could give the newbies a shot too. Just say there's one slot that's open for whoever gets second place in the season or whatever he wants to say, you know?
No, you can't say that. It's just.
I can make it fifth place. He could say, I don't know.
I kind of like the idea of the highest returnee, but then like all the newbies are like, F the returnees.
They're just also there, yeah.
Like, what are we? Chopped liver? Jeff's like, yeah, you're here. You are literally here as cannon fodder for these 6 returnees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's like, I've been applying to this show for 20 years.
To be cannon fodder? Jeff's like, yes. Stop asking.
It's not my fault. You didn't choose me.
Oh, man. I also feel a little bad for 51 because as been determined, like the seasons right after like a big returnee season, typically a little troublesome. But I think the exception to that is Co-Wrong, which technically was filmed before Cambodia. Sure. So I don't even know how that one works.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, we'll see. All right, well, we thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all literally next week for the 50 cast reveal. Okay, bye.